Good morning. Guess what day it is? It is Wee Day. I know, super cheesy. But think about it. Yesterday was Wednesday, which is, in my books, hump day. So if you reached the top of the hump and you're moving on to Thursday, then it is now Wee Day. I'm gonna tell my coworkers when I get to work, and they're gonna be so, I don't know, Ryan, you're so cheesy, kind of mentality. That's what I'm thinking. They're gonna be like, Rhino, man, Rhino, you got some issues. Anyways, welcome to Coffee, Bible, and Questions. And sometimes I'll be playing some Minecraft. Not today, don't have the time, gotta go to work. But Saturday is the day. Saturday is the day I play some Minecraft, and I have some big plans. I'm actually working on plans for a Minecraft server with some friends of mine, Dark Maestro, Simply. Oh, no, forgot the name. It was Simply. Let's look it up. Let's look it up, guys. It was Dark Maestro, and then we have Absolutely Clueless, my wonderful bride, Simcha. Yeah, these are some of the people that I will be working on the lobby, actually, for this future Minecraft server. So my curiosity is, do you guys want to play with me? Do you guys want to play Minecraft with me? Vanilla. I haven't played vanilla in a long time, but I am super excited to try it again. I'm seeing some pretty interesting stuff lately about vanilla Minecrafts. There's spears now. When did that happen? And then this cool mace that I knew was introduced, but I never got to try it. Apparently, what I am told by my brother is that if you use a spear, it depends on how fast you're moving, how hard you hit. So that sounds kind of intriguing to me. The same with the mace, but it's vertical. How fast you move vertically is how hard you hit. So, anyways, moving on. This morning, for Coffee, Bible, and Questions, I will be reading from 1 Samuel chapter 18. I'll be reading through chapter 20. This is from the Bible reading plan, actually, from XP Church. So if you want, you can put, I will go ahead and try this out for myself. You can put XP Church, exclamation XP Church in the chat, and it doesn't work. So we know that we need to figure that out, figure out what's going on. All right, let's try it now. Exclamation point XP Church in the chat. It didn't work. I'm going to work on that, chat. I am going to work on that. I had it working the other day, but now it is not. Eventually, I'll have it so that you can put exclamation point XP Church in the chat, and you will be able to get an invitation to their Discord server, and that'll be nice. That'll be nice because XP Church has they have both a section for hanging out as a church, but also they have XP Gaming. So whether you are a Christian or not, you can come and hang out with a positive community. And guess what? You're allowed to ask questions about God and the Bible. You're allowed to do this in this section of hanging out with people that are positive and that love to do things together. That part is really exciting to me. XP Church exists to help gamers know God, experience community, discover their purpose, and make a difference. I'm on board with that. It's amazing what XP Church is doing. I'm an advocate for their mission. So let's do this together. You can join me in this. If you want to find me on Discord, the best way to do that is by joining the XP Church Discord server. You can go to xpchurch.com, it looks like. Yeah, xpchurch.com is where you can go to learn more about XP Church. And the link for the Discord is at xpchurch.com. Don't worry, just get in there. You won't regret it. All right. This morning I am going to be reading 1 Samuel 18 through 20. If you haven't already turned there, I know I'm repeating myself, but I want you to give you time to get there. Let's jump right into that. I got it already pulled up like magic. 1 Samuel 18 through 20 this morning. I will pause periodically and make comments. If you have questions and want to ask them in the chat, I would love to discuss those with you as I have time. All right, let me pray. God, I want to thank you for this morning. Thank you for coffee. Thank you for friends. Thank you for bringing me here this morning to spend time with you. I want to say that you are awesome. And whatever you are up to with leading me to read my Bible live here on stream, on Twitch, whatever you're up to, I ask that you would use this for your glory alone. Help this to be a wonderful, sweet time with you. Convict my heart, convict my spirit of what I need to do. And I want to mean that statement. I want my heart not to be a heart of stone, but a heart of flesh. Use my time this morning. Use my time at work, at my lunch hour, to really just draw me close to you. And not only for me, but for anyone who hops into this chat with me. Hello, Real Napster. Morning. Hope it's a good one. Just getting ready to read 1 Samuel 18 through 20. It's what XP Church is going through in their Bible reading plan. Really excited to read this with you this morning. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. We'll discuss them as they come up if possible. And I'll pause periodically as I have thoughts while I'm reading. All right. 1 Samuel 18. After David had finished talking with Saul, he met Jonathan, the king's son. There was an immediate bond between them, for Jonathan loved David. From that day on, Saul kept David with him and wouldn't let him return home. And Jonathan made a solemn pact with David because he loved him as he loved himself. Jonathan sealed the pact by taking off his robe and giving it to David, together with his tunic, sword, bow, and belt. Whatever Saul asked David to do, David did it successfully. So Saul made him a commander over the men of war, an appointment that was welcomed by the people and Saul's officers alike. When the victorious Israelite army was returning home after David had killed the Philistine, women from all the towns of Israel came out to meet King Saul. They sang and danced for joy with tambourines and cymbals, and this was their song. Saul has killed his thousands, and David his 10,000s. This made Saul very angry. I mean, that would make me angry if somebody was saying that, like, somebody who was under me was actually better than me. That might make me angry. That might. So I don't get angry very often. Now this part up here is fascinating to me. where Jonathan and David, so Jonathan is Saul's son, King Saul's son, and they basically make this pact with each other, this friendship. And it says that there was an immediate bond between them. For Jonathan loved David. I think we'll find out more about that friendship later. Oh, and by the way, Napster, how are you doing this morning? How are you doing this morning? Alright. Continuing on. This made Saul very angry. What's this, he said. They credit David with 10,000s and me only with thousands. Next they'll be making him king. Which is funny because in previous chapters I read that God actually anointed David to be king and replace Saul. So from that time on, Saul kept a jealous eye on David. The very next day, a tormenting spirit from God overwhelmed Saul, and he began to rave in his house like a madman. David was playing the harp, which I remember from yesterday when I was reading this, that David was playing the harp to help soothe Saul's spirit. That's the whole reason why David was in King Saul's service. So David's playing the harp. Saul's jealous, he has a spear in his hand, and suddenly he hurls it at David, intending to pin him to the wall. But David escaped him twice. Saul was then afraid of David, for the Lord was with David and had turned away from Saul. Finally, Saul sent him away and appointed him commander over 1,000 men, and David faithfully led his troops into battle. David continued to succeed in everything he did, for the Lord was with him. When Saul recognized this, he became even more afraid of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David because he was so successful at leading his troops into battle. David continued to succeed, verse 14, in everything he did, for the Lord was with him. Verse 15, Saul recognized this because he became even more afraid of him. Which reminds me of previous stories in the Bible where the people around the Israelites, the people that God had chosen and who God was with, the other foreigners and whatnot are looking in at how much God is with them and they're afraid. And now we have an individual relationship here between Saul and David, and Saul is afraid because God is with David. Verse 17. Glad you're doing well, Napster. Glad you're doing well. Love you, brother. Go make some legends today. Go make some legends. Verse 17. One day Saul said to David, I'm ready to give you my older daughter, Merib, as your wife. But first you must prove yourself to be a real warrior by fighting the Lord's battles. For Saul thought, I'll send him out against the Philistines and let them kill him rather than doing it myself. Who am I, and what is my family in Israel that I should be the king's son-in-law? David exclaimed. My father's family is nothing. So when the time came for Saul to give his daughter Merib in marriage to David, he gave her instead to Adriel, a man from Meholah. In the meantime, Saul's daughter Michal had fallen in love with David, and Saul was delighted when he heard about it. Here's another chance to see him killed by the Philistines, Saul said to himself. But David, he said, today you have a second chance to become my son-in-law. Then Saul told his men to say to David, the king really likes you, and so do we. Why don't you accept the king's offer and become his son-in-law? When Saul's men said these things to David, he replied, how can a poor man from a humble family afford the bride price for the daughter of a king? When Saul's men reported this back to the king, He told them, "Tell David that all I want for the bride price is 100 Philistine foreskins. Vengeance on my enemies is all I really want." That's gruesome. That is gruesome right there. 100 Philistine foreskins. Which I know in the Old Testament, God would have the Jews, and I think they still, even to this day, do circumcision. So I don't know if this is some sort of vengeance of like, okay, you're not going to set yourself apart for God. Well, we're gonna take your foreskins for you. But I know he's also killing these Philistines. I don't know what this is about. This is weird. But I also know that clearly Saul has in mind to kill David. We're still in verse 25. But what Saul had in mind was that David would be killed in the fight. Right there. Just right there. David was delighted to accept the offer before the time limit expired. He and his men went out and killed 200 Philistines. Then David fulfilled the king's requirement by presenting all their foreskins to him. Surprise! Surprise! He didn't die. God was with him. So Saul gave his daughter Michal to David to be his wife. When Saul realized that the Lord was with David and how much his daughter Michal loved him, Saul became even more afraid of him, and he remained David's enemy for the rest of his life. Every time the commanders of the Philistines attacked, David was more successful against them than all the rest of Saul's officers, so David's name became very famous. If he wasn't famous before, now he's really famous. I don't know if the numbers changed any. As far as, here, let's go back up. Saul has killed his thousands. David his 10,000s. I wonder if the numbers changed. Alright. Chapter 19. Saul now urged his servants and his son Jonathan to assassinate David. But Jonathan because of his strong affection for David, okay, the affection, the friendship is still here, told him what his father was planning. "Tomorrow morning," he warned, "you must find a hiding place out in the fields. I'll ask my father to go out there with me, and I'll talk to him about you. Then I'll tell you everything I can find out." The next morning, Jonathan spoke with his father about David, saying many good things about him. "The king must not sin against his servant David," Jonathan said. "He's never done anything to harm you. He's always helped you in any way he could. Have you forgotten about the time he risked his life to kill the Philistine giant? Have you forgotten to kill the Philistine giant, and how the Lord brought a great victory to all Israel as a result? You were certainly happy about it then. Why should you murder an innocent man like David? There's no reason for it at all." So Saul listened to Jonathan and vowed, "As surely as the Lord lives, David will not be killed." Afterward, Jonathan called David and told him what had happened. Then he brought David to Saul, and David served in the court as before. Napster. I think I would have passed on that task. A said price for your daughter is too high. Defeating 200 enemy is one thing, but the second part of the task, no thanks. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not that kind of man. Not that kind of man. I know David was a man of war, but not me. Alright, verse 7. Oh, we already read that. Verse 8. War broke out again after that, and David led his troops against the Philistines. He attacked them with such fury that they all ran away. But one day, when Saul was sitting at home with spear in hand, the tormenting spirit from the Lord suddenly came upon him again, as David played his harp. Saul hurled his spear at David, but David dodged out of the way, leaving the spear stuck in the wall. He fled and escaped into the night. How many times is David going to come back? How many times has Saul already thrown his spear at David, and he keeps coming back? Goodness. Verse 11, Then Saul sent troops to watch David's house. They were told to kill David when he came out the next morning. But Michal, David's wife, warned him, If you don't escape tonight, you will be dead by morning. So she helped him climb out through a window, and he fled and escaped. Then she took an idol. That's interesting. Why does she have an idol? She put it in his bed, covered it with blankets, and put a cushion of goat's hair at its head. When the troops came to arrest David, she told them he was sick and couldn't get out of bed. But Saul sent the troops back to get David. He ordered, Bring him to me in his bed so I can kill him. But when they came to carry David out, they discovered that it was only an idol in the bed with a cushion of goat's hair at its head. Why have you betrayed me like this and let my enemy escape? Saul demanded of Michal. I had to, Michal replied. He threatened to kill me if I didn't help him. Lie. Right there. She lied. So David escaped and went to Ramah to see Samuel, and he told him all that Saul had done. Then Samuel took David with him to live at Naioth. When the report reached Saul that David was at Naioth and Ramah, he sent troops to capture him. But when they arrived and saw Samuel leading a group of prophets who were prophesying, the Spirit of God came upon Saul's men, and they also began to prophesy. Okay, let's get this straight. Saul is chasing David. I'm pausing, sorry. Saul is chasing David. He sends troops to capture David, and then they start speaking the word of God? Alright. Verse 21. When Saul heard what had happened, he sent other troops, but they too prophesied. The same thing happened a third time. Finally, Saul himself went to Ramah and arrived at the great well in Seku. Where are Samuel and David? He demanded. They're at Naioth and Ramah, someone told him. But on the way to Naioth and Ramah, the Spirit of God came even upon Saul, and he, too, began to prophesy all the way to Naioth. He tore off his clothes and lay naked on the ground all day and all night, prophesying in the presence of Samuel. The people who were watching exclaimed, What? Is even Saul a prophet? All kinds of questions arise from that. Saul speaking the word of God in the presence of Samuel, who is also a prophet, but stripping his clothes off and laying naked on the ground all day and all night. Why? But if you think about it, he's in the presence of God. God sees all and knows all. He made us. Is it really that unusual? Lots of questions. Few answers for me. Right there. I don't think I've ever understood this story as far as that goes. It's very clear that God's stopping Saul from doing something. It's interesting that he uses coming upon Saul in the power of the Spirit and having him speak the word of God as a way to stop him from his mission to kill David. Chapter 20. David now fled from Naioth and Ramah and found Jonathan. What have I done? He exclaimed. What is my crime? How have I offended your father that he is so determined to kill me? That's not true, Jonathan protested. You're not going to die. He always tells me everything he's going to do, even the little things. I know my father when it hides something like this from me. It just isn't so. Then David took an oath before Jonathan and said, Your father knows perfectly well about our friendship, so he has said to himself, I won't tell Jonathan. Why should I hurt him? But I swear to you that I am only a step away from death. I swear it by the Lord and by your own soul. Tell me, Jonathan exclaimed. Tell me, what can I do to help you? David replied, Tomorrow we celebrate the new moon festival. I have always eaten with the king on this occasion, but tomorrow I'll hide in the field and stay there until evening of the third day. If your father asks where I am, tell him I asked permission to go home to Bethlehem for an annual family sacrifice. If he says, Fine, you will know all is well. But if he's angry and loses his temper, you will know that he is determined to kill me. Show me this loyalty as my sworn friend, for we made a solemn pact before the Lord. Or just kill me yourself, if I've sinned against your father. But please, don't betray me. Never, Jonathan exclaimed. You know that if I had the slightest notion my father was planning to kill you, I would tell you at once. Then David asked, How will I know whether or not your father is angry? Jonathan replied, Come out to the field with me. And they went out together. Then Jonathan told David, I promise by the Lord the God of Israel that by this time tomorrow, or the next day at the latest, I will talk to my father and let you know at once how he feels about you. If he speaks favorably about you, I will let you know. But if he is angry and wants you killed, may the Lord strike me and even kill me if I don't warn you so that you can escape and live. May the Lord be with you as he used to be with my father. And may you treat me with the faithful love of the Lord as long as I live. But if I die, treat my family with this faithful love. Faithful love. I want to know. Faithful. Faithful. Yep. Hesed. Faithful love. It's a Hebrew word that I'm extremely fascinated with. It means steadfast, unchanging, faithful love. That's the kind of love that God has for us. But David is asking for this. No, Jonathan is asking for this kind of faithful love from David. Verse 14, right here. But if I die, treat my family with this faithful love, even when the Lord destroys all your enemies from the face of the earth. So Jonathan made a solemn pact with David, saying, May the Lord destroy all your enemies. And Jonathan made David reaffirm his vow of friendship again, for Jonathan loved David as he loved himself. I wonder if this love is also... This love is a different love, a hib. I'll have to do more research on that. Then Jonathan said, Tomorrow we celebrate the New Moon Festival. You will be missed when your place at the table is empty. The day after tomorrow toward evening, go to the place where you hid before. Wait there, by the stone pile. I will come out and shoot 3 arrows to the side of the stone pile as though I were shooting at a target. And then I will send a boy to bring the arrows back. If you hear me tell him, they're on this side, then you will know as surely as the Lord lives that all is well and there's no trouble. But if I tell him, go farther, the arrows are still ahead of you, then it will mean that you must leave immediately, for the Lord is sending you away. And may the Lord make us keep our promises to each other, for he has witnessed them. So David hid himself in the field when the new moon festival began. The king sat down to eat. He sat at his usual place against the wall, while Jonathan sitting opposite him and Abner beside him. But David's place was empty. Saul didn't say anything about it that day, for he said to himself, "Something must have made David ceremonially unclean." But when David's place was empty again, the next day Saul asked Jonathan, "Why hasn't the son of Jesse been here for the meal either yesterday or today?" Jonathan replied, "David earnestly asked me if he could go to Bethlehem. He said, 'Please, please let me go, for we are having a family sacrifice.' My brother demanded that I be there, so please let me get away to see my brothers. That's why he isn't here at the king's table." Saul boiled with rage at Jonathan. "You stupid son of a whore." I can imagine today, if somebody said that statement, it would be a little different than that. He swore at him, "Do you think I know that you want him to be king in your place, shaming yourself and your mother? As long as that son of Jesse lives, you'll never be king. Now go get him so I can kill him." "But why should he be put to death?" Jonathan asked his father. "What has he done?" Then Saul hurled his spear at Jonathan, intending to kill Jonathan, to kill him. So at last, Jonathan realized that his father was really determined to kill David. Jonathan left the table in fierce anger and refused to eat on the second day of the festival, for he was crushed by his father's shameful behavior towards David. The next morning, as agreed, Jonathan went out to the field, took a young boy with him to gather his arrows. "Start running," he told the boy, "so you can find the arrows as I shoot them." So the boy ran, and Jonathan shot an arrow beyond him. When the boy had almost reached the arrow, Jonathan shouted, "The arrow is still ahead of you! Hurry! Hurry! Don't wait!" So the boy quickly gathered up the arrows and ran back to his master. He, of course, suspected nothing. Only Jonathan and David understood the signal. Then Jonathan gave his bow and arrows to the boy and told him to take them back to town. I've never understood the next part of this story. Why the elaborate sign? Because as soon as the boy was gone, verse 41, David came out from where he had been hiding near the stone pile. Then David bowed 3 times to Jonathan with his face to the ground. Both of them were in tears as they embraced each other and said goodbye, especially David. At last, Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace, for we have sworn loyalty to each other in the Lord's name. The Lord is the witness of the bond between us and our children forever." Then David left, and Jonathan returned to town. When I read stories like this, I think of how iron sharpens iron. I think of close friends that I've had in the way that because we stuck together, we were better because of it. I think of a friend that challenged me to go and talk to strangers on the street. Something that I would have never done when I was in Bible college. But because I was pushed to do so, I was sharpened. I think of how some of these particular friends have held me when I had hard times in life, cried with me, shared life with me, listened to me when I was struggling. And I still have good friends like this to this day. May the Lord bless each person. May the Lord bless each person that is listening with the kind of friendship, the kind of example that we see of a good friendship in this story of Jonathan and David. That's the kind of friendship that I want other people to have. I also believe it's the kind of friendship that we can have because of Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection. Because of the fact that he died to give you new life. He died to make it so that you could be a part of his family. I hope and pray that you can find that family. If you need help finding that family, go to xpchurch.com, find the link for the Discord there. Find the link in for the Discord there. Alright, that's all I have time for today. I hope you guys have a great one. It was good to see you here, Napster. Bye.